Question number 2, the Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What reports has he received on the government's financial position and especially progress in meeting its target of returning to surplus by 2014-15?
Honourable Bill English.
Speaker, the Treasury last week published the government's financial statements for the year ended 30 June 2013. They showed higher tax revenue and lower than forecast Crown expenses that helped to more than halve the government's operating deficit before gains and losses to $4.4 billion for that year. This compares with $9.2 billion deficit the previous year and was considerably better than the deficit forecast in Budget 2012 of $7.9 billion. So it was $3.5 billion better than forecast in the last budget. This confirms that the government's careful approach to fiscal management is working and that our focus on getting better results for the community is flowing through to better results for the government's books. Fortunately, we didn't listen to all the advice from the opposition about how to do this.
Order.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
What has been the government's approach to stemming previously unsustainable growth in government spending, and how was this reflected in the latest annual financial statements?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the government's taken a balanced approach, which has been to focus on the longer-term drivers of government expenditure, and those longer-term drivers are often social failure, that is, the incidence of crime, welfare dependence and lack of educational achievement. And in each case, the government is focusing on improving those results for the community, and that is flowing through to the government's books. So in the latest year, core Crown expenses came in at $70.3 billion, about $3.4 billion below what was expected in last year's budget. Part of this result was lower than forecast costs in Canterbury, and part of it was lower expenditure by government departments. We remain on track to reduce government expenditure as a proportion of GDP to 30% by 2016-17, down from 35% of GDP in 2010-11.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
With respect to the government's financial position, does he stand by his statement regarding the bailout of Solid Energy that, quote, as far as we're concerned, we've got a deal, unquote? And how does he reconcile that statement with the news that the Bank of Tokyo is taking legal action to block the Solid Energy bailout?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I do stand by the statement. Both the auditors and the directors of the company, according to company law, had to ensure the solvency of that company by the 30th of September, and the government has negotiated a deal with the banks that creates that position. The fact that Bank of Tokyo wants to take some legal action to prevent it being compelled to join the deal is really a matter for them. Our best advice is they have a very small chance of success. The irony is that if they succeeded in that legal action, the company may go into liquidation with the loss of 1,000 jobs, and they would lose all their money, and they may wish to consider that.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Why is it important that the government sticks to its successful economic and fiscal plan and continues to focus on returning to surplus?
Honourable
Speaker,
English.
Well, there's a number of reasons. One is that the New Zealand government will continue to incur more debt until we actually get to surplus, and at the moment government net borrowing is still $110 million per week, down from a peak of $260 million per week in 2010-11. The second reason is because the government has an objective of doing as much as it can to keep interest rates lower for longer, and a strong fiscal plan is likely to achieve that. And thirdly, the fiscal results are secondary to the task the government has set itself, and that is to get better results from government expenditure for the community. And when we rehabilitate prisoners effectively, when we teach children how to read, when we keep young people in school and out of offending, we save a lot of money, and that is starting to work.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
What will be the government's main areas of focus after it reaches budget surplus in 2014-15?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, well, the budget of 2014 will confirm or otherwise whether we get to surplus, although it does look pretty likely. We then want to reduce net debt to a prudent 20% of GDP by 2020. Because one is only to observe international events such as the potential threat of the debt ceiling, failure to resolve the debt ceiling argument in the US, to understand that the international financial markets in which we still borrow billions and on which we are dependent for sourcing a lot of our investment capital could be volatile and uncertain for New Zealand. So we need a prudent level of debt. The government will also have other choices, such as resuming contributions to the New Zealand Super Fund or investing further in public services that achieve results for the community.
Question number 3, Materia Ture.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, tēnā koutou I te whare. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he stand by his statement that